Here at the Texas Motorplex. You know, Jim Yates is a 13-year veteran of the Pro Stock class. The 49-year-old is a back-to-back champion and a winner of 24 national events. And right now, he's in the thick of one of the closest point battles in history. And Jim is this week's POWERade Profile.
Well, when I was in high school, worked my way through high school and college, I worked at my dad's gas station. So I spent a lot of time around cars. I started actually racing about the time I turned 18. I got a Torino Cobra Jet and went out to the local racetrack and did a lot of bracket racing down there. And once I started, I was hooked. You know, I mean, we were racing 2-3 days a week. As time went on, I was about 1988, 87. I bought an old Pro Stock car and put a big 700 cubic inch motor in it that I got from Ricky Smith and went to a local Pro Stock race. Qualified well and ended up being runner-up to Ricky Smith. First time I'd ever raced Pro Stock, and I said, man, I like this. I think I could do this.
Oh, yes!
I'm a very focused and motivated individual. I want to be successful at what I'm doing. But what I've learned to do is to temper that somewhat and to realize, you know, especially after what happened last year at Memphis when we were fighting for the championship and I had the heart problem and they had to do an emergency angioplasty on me, you know, and I missed the race. And, you know, you realize that there are more important things in life than Pro Stock racing. This is the anniversary, basically, of when I came back after that surgery. And you realize, you know, when you go out and Tony and I go out and run in the morning or exercise and you feel like, wow, you know, a year ago I couldn't do this. A year ago I was, you know, really touch and go there for a little bit. And you realize how fortunate you are to be able to get up in the morning and go for a run and love your kids and enjoy life. The exercise has helped me tremendously. And I've worked up with there's an optometrist, an eye doctor that lives down there in Tennessee that's a real fan of mine. He brought to me a guy that builds a simulator for actually practicing hand-eye coordination. I've been working really hard on that. And that's helped my reaction times more than anything.
Red light. Edwards throws it away. Jim Yates has got victory number one, and he cut another good light, a 461.
We're looking forward to the next number one qualifying round of the next race. And then we just take it a round at a time because you start looking too far forward, it's going to scare you. And it scares me to think about going into Pomona in a virtual tie, whether I'm a half a round ahead or a half a round behind, and having to go head-to-head for the championship with all that stuff on the line. You know, you just got to relax and go up there and know that it doesn't matter who you're racing, and go up there and know you can cut a good light and know you can drive that car. That's why you're here. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't get here by mistake. You got here by being good and consistent and just get in that car and go up there and drive it, whether it's first round at Pomona just for smiles or whether it's the final round and you're racing for the championship. Do the best you can.
How will Jim Yates do in first round action of Pro Stock? Well, come on back to the Texas Motorplex and find out. The factory hot rods are next. In Pro Stock, the first 9 races yielded 9 different winners, leaving the points race wide open. However, in the last 9 races, Jake Coughlin has dominated the field, winning 6 times, and has taken control as we head into the final 3 events. Take a quick look at the ladder. Arrow indicates who has lane choice. Ron Krischer, the only former event winner on the left side, but boy, is it stacked up on the right side. And here is Greg Anderson, left lane. Bruce Allen in the right lane. Must-win situation for Greg. Third the points. Bruce with 200 in the bank. But something happens to Allen, and Greg goes 682 at 202, and his championship hopes are still alive.
Boy, Greg Anderson was going home. Bruce Allen had him covered. 200s off the start. By the 8th mile, he had picked up another 200s, but then obviously something went wrong. Probably lost 5th gear or something. Power went away, and lucky for Greg Anderson, he was able to drive by it into the second round.
So as we get ready for Jim Yates' run, let's take a look at the points coming in to today's action. 68 behind Jake Coughlin. Greg Anderson has already laid down the gauntlet by winning his first round and on down through the top 10. Time now for Jim Yates, and he's been having problems getting the back half, which means the top end speed. His low numbers have been good to half track. He's got Tom Hammonds, a guy who went to the finals here last year, over in the right lane. Yates has problems off the line, and Yates goes 681 at 201 miles an hour to keep pace with Greg Anderson, who's with Bill.
That could have been bad. That was about the ugliest run we've made all year right there. 2,000 foot of weather change, and obviously we did not make the right changes, man. We got to regroup here, or we're just going to be going home early. Track okay? Track is not very good for the weather you got right now, and you got to make changes for it. We did. They lucked out.
And now back at the starting line, we get ready for Jake Coughlin, the points leader, and he's backing up. And as he continues that process, let's check in with Bill. He's with Jim Yates.
Jim, you concur with Greg Anderson. The racetrack, it's a little spooky down there.
It was real nice in the first 3 gears. After that, it was hold on, man. It was just side to side, just spinning and shaking. Key is I stayed in the middle of the groove, so I didn't have to lift like a lot of cars did, but it kept trying to get out, and it just moving the steering wheel like that. It's like riding a Bronco down here in Texas.
Lane choice a factor today?
But it was a huge factor the first couple of pairs. I mean, nobody got down the right lane. Mike Edwards, I got to race him. He went 82 in the right, so that's not a good sign. He seems to be getting down, and that's all that matters.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go is right, because Jeg has seen both number 2 and number 3 in the points win already. He has a 68-point lead over Yates, and he's got George Marnell, who is no slouch on the tree. 2 100s for Jake. And the points leader marches on. 681 at 202.
With a 681.7, 202.06.
Take another look.
Well, we're going to see Jeggy on board here going through the gears. Now, you got to remember, they were talking about the cars getting loose down on the other end. That's a characteristic of this all-concrete racetrack when it gets cool. No downforce on these Pro Stock cars. They're a real handful if you get them out of the groove on the other end.
And he's going to have lane choice by 1/100th over Greg Anderson. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Marty, we're back here in the pit area. Ron Capps is back still taking things in as you get a look of what is left of the Skoll Camaro funny car body. Just to give you an idea, this is a pile of what was left. That is a full-size body, so you can see how this car has been absolutely diminished. And these, keep in mind, are only the big pieces. There are still a lot of smaller pieces laying all up and down the return road. Pretty incredible stuff here.
Hey, Dave, I'm on the other side of the Don Perdon camp with the Top Fuel team. After Larry Dixon's big crash at Memphis in the year 2000, in which he suffered leg injuries, the team came up with an idea to cover the inside of the chrome moly tubing inside the cockpit with carbon fiber panels. What that helps do is spread out the load on the side of the legs in case of an accident, so you don't have any pinpoint injuries against a particular tube like Ron Capps did during his accidents. Innovative idea. It's one of the only cars that I've seen this nice piece of carbon fiber laid in, but after accidents like Ron Capps, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more protection within these cockpits.
Well, yeah, and that's right, Parker. And one of that came from actually when Tony Schumacher had his crash in Memphis. It broke his leg, and they attributed it to that not being that way and hitting one of those diagonals across members and breaking his leg. But look at the damage to that Skoll body. I mean, that was just an unbelievable explosion. We haven't seen many of those since we switched to the 90% rule, but I'll tell you what, that was definitely devastating.
And looking at that mess, it's amazing he wasn't more seriously injured. How about round 1 of Pro Stock? Gene Wilson, Tommy Lee. Wilson left lane, 684, 202. Lee had problems, was not a factor. Then watch Kurt Johnson in the left lane. He is going to run the second fastest speed ever in Pro Stock history, and he goes low for the round. 679 at 203.94. Larry Nance was not a factor in this one. Brad Jeter, Tom Martino, and this one it got a little ugly. Jeter, as Martino fouls, he coasts on through at a 763. Then Warren Johnson, closest to you, left lane. He throws away the second quickest time of the session, 6.795. Second quickest speed, fastest speed at 203.43. Mike Edwards gets his 10th whole shot win of the year with a 682. And then Steve Schmidt gets a solo run. Ron Krischer was late to the line. They shut him off, 682 at 202. So here's how the ladder shapes up in Pro Stock. Some big matchups. Schmidt and Wilson, KJ and Jeter, but over on the right side, Jag Coughlin, Greg Anderson, a must-win for Anderson, and Jim Yates and Mike Edwards. He's at 13 right now. How about round 2 at Pro Stock? Steve Schmidt left lane. Gene Wilson in the right lane. And the Mopar Dodge 683 at 202 beats a 684 at 201. And Gene Wilson moves on to the semifinals. Then Jag Coughlin, Greg Anderson. Greg needed this, but look at the light. Anderson cuts a 412. Jag right behind him at a 422. Did Anderson win? No. It was a 681 to a 682, and Jag has basically crushed Greg Anderson's hopes of winning a championship.
Great. Doesn't feel better, but about third year.
Take another look from on board. Through the gears. And Jag Coughlin, who has won 6 of the last 9 races, you never see over on that left side or the right side because of camera angle, but here is how close it is at the finish line. 38 ten-thousandth of a second. That's all the difference at the stripe. Could Jim Yates keep pace? He's in the left lane. Again, look at the light. Yates cuts a 420. Mike Edwards a 449, and Yates runs identical ET, 6.813 at 202, and Jag will get the lane choice by mile an hour. And then, watch this, Kurt Johnson. He lowers the track record to a 678, and he goes again, second fastest speed, 204.03. Kurt Johnson may be the car to beat here in Pro Stock today. Here's the matchups. KJ with a big advantage over Gene Wilson. And then by speed, it is Jag Coughlin over Jim Yates. And we've got Pro Stock and the Factory Hot Rods in the semifinals coming up next here at the Texas Motorplex. Time for semifinals in Pro Stock. Jag Coughlin against Jim Yates. Remember the last time these two guys met? Back at the U.S. Nationals. And a hole shot for Jag. He runs a 695 to the quicker but losing 693. In fact, Jim has not beaten Jag in 2002. This will be their 5th matchup, and Jag has tattooed him 3 times on hole shots this year alone.
And Jim Yates remembers that, but another thing that we have to remember, since Maple Grove, Jim Yates' lights have been considerably better. So he's been working on it, and hopefully he'll be able to cut a good light and give him a good race.
The last round, Jim Yates a 420 light. Jag Coughlin a 422 light. That's how close these guys are right now. Jag is pre-staged. Yates now pulls in. Points implications are huge for Yates. Here we go. Clock is running. 68 points separate these two. Jag's in. Red light. Yates gives it away. And Jag goes 686. Yates had him. A 684 at 201. Would have beaten him, but he goes red. And as Jag coasts on out, let's go. As you go back to the starting line, we can tell you the points lead now for Jag Coughlin over Jim Yates is 88 and 176 over third place Greg Anderson. That could have been a big nail in the coffin. Kurt Johnson, though, this guy has lowered the track record twice. He now holds the 2nd and 3rd fastest speeds ever in the sport of Pro Stock.
Kurt Johnson has never looked better than he has at this race.
He ran 204.03 last round. Gene cuts a 419 light in that right lane. And the win goes to Gene Wilson in a hole shot. 684 at 202 to Kurt Johnson's quicker but losing 682 at 203 miles an hour.
Boy, what a great race. Gene Wilson needed that 419 light. That was the difference at the finish line. Kurt Johnson coming on strong with that big top end, 203 miles an hour, but it wasn't enough. By 17 ten-thousandths of a second, Gene Wilson got the win.
And take a look at the crew reaction saying, oh my goodness, boys, we're going to the finals. And it's going to be a rematch from Memphis. Let's go to Bill.
Well, Greg Anderson couldn't do it. Jim Yates couldn't do it. And at the last race, Gene Wilson couldn't do it. He's got another shot at you, Jiggy.
Well, you know, we're very fortunate to get by Jim on that round. He was a little anxious, obviously, and, you know, our car had just violent tire shake. I don't think we've had that in probably 10 races. And, you know, I know this Team Jake's gang's going to get this baby fired up for me and Gene here in the final, and we'll just keep on rolling.
Let's take a look at the matchup now, and it'll be with the lane choice, Gene Wilson by 2/100ths of a second over Jeg Coughlin. And let's go back to Bill.
Jim Yates had a shot, but it was a little too quick, Jim. And, you know, we talked earlier this weekend about how much work you've been doing on your reaction times and what great lights you've been cutting, but that time, just a little too quick.
I just got shook up there, I guess, you know. I knew it was a tough race, had a lot of pressure to try and win, but we tried not to let that get to us all weekend. You know, we just go up there and do our best and let the cards fall, and driver just let the team down, you know. We know Jaggy's tough. He's done a great job all year, but we sure wanted that win right now. We need to pick up a round on him, not give up a round.
That was critical.
It really was, and the finals are up next when we return to the O'Reilly Fall Nationals. For the finals, time to hand out the Wallies. In Pro Stock, will it be Jeg Coughlin or will it be Gene Wilson picking up his first ever statue? And there is Gene. He's going to be in the right-hand lane. He's got the lane choice. And word, Jeg Coughlin late to the line, Parker?
Very late, Marty. It's a good thing he's a consummate professional. At the very last moment, they were airing the tires, pulling the air intake scoop off, getting him buckled in. He is going to have to get focused in a very short amount of time.
So we don't know exactly why, but right now, Jeg trying to put a stranglehold on the championship. Red light, Gene Wilson. And a 682 for Jeg.
Excellent job. Excellent job. Your 682 to his 683, which didn't make much difference, but you ran 202, 30, 26. Excellent job. Good work, guys. Man, way to rebound after that last round. I think I made a clean shift there, and just what a weekend, man. Heck of a job. We took out the two big guns there, second and third round, and we just need to keep riding this high, boys. Good job.
Take a look again. The points lead is now 108.
Well, Jeg Coughlin, unbelievable. Here's why Gene Wilson red-lighted. Jeg Coughlin, 421 light, 422, 416, and a 414 in the final round. He knew he was going to have to get a good light. Unfortunately, he pushed the tree a little bit too close. Jaggy, you see it there, going through the gears, making the perfect shift. He is just tough to beat.
7 out of the last 10 races, that man right there has won. And he now holds the same amount of a point lead in Pro Stock that Larry Dixon holds over Kenny Bernstein. And we'll talk to him in just a moment. Next up, though, it is Funny Car. What about Bruce Sarver? Will he get his first win in the Toyota, or will it be Del Worship? There is the Checker Shucks Craig in the machine. And let's quickly go to the far end. Bill?
Back in 2000, when Jeg Coughlin won his first Pro Stock championship, he won 6 out of the first 7 races. Jeggy, it looks like you're going to end this season that way.
Man, we certainly hope so. You know, this Team Jake's has just pulled together phenomenally well in the Chevy Cavalier to run as well as it has the last several months. And, you know, my driving today was just, I was extremely pleased with it. I kind of goofed up there in the semis, but we got away with it when Jim turned it red. And, you know, we knew Gene would be tough. The Mopar gang's been doing a heck of a job, but I think the fans got what they bargained for here at the O'Reilly Nationals. It was awesome.
Let's go to Dave.
Gene, you know you had to take a chance at it. 383 red, I'm not going to get it done.
No, I tell you, I thought my light was going to be good. Didn't take any shots at the trees or anything. Just really pumped up. You got to make good runs when you run against Team Jegs over there. And I want to thank Mopar and David Nickens, all the people standing behind me. And we had a heck of a weekend, and we just look forward to going to the next race.